Hey everybody, welcome back to Shock and Schlock. I'm your host Herschel Gillis, and today I'm back. I know it's been a long time. Um, where have I been? Where have I been? I've been really busy the last couple of weeks. Had a family member in the hospital that I had to take care of. It was my grandmother, who I'm one of her caregivers. Um, so had to deal with that. Got food poisoning not once but twice because, yeah, and then had a wedding to attend. Lots of stuff going on, but I'm back. Shark Saturday will continue this Saturday. I was planning on doing it earlier this week, but I've had food poisoning the last couple of days, as anybody who follows me on Instagram knows, because I complain about it a lot. Um, so I was going to do a Shark Saturday review yesterday or the day before, but now it's too late. I'm just waiting for this weekend to continue that. I even have it here ready to film everything there. But what am I reviewing today? Well, I'm very exhausted after being sick, so I'm sorry if I sound dreary or anything today, or kind of low. It's because I literally have barely slept in the past 3 days. Um, but I just want to do a quick review of a couple of my favorite movies of the year, and it's just want to talk about them. That is X and Pearl, the new film by Ty West. That's the prequel to X. Both of them came out this year, though. Um, I know that Pearl was written and filmed pretty much immediately after X, so they both came out in a very short amount of time. Same year. X is the original, or first film. Pearl is the prequel. So, what is X? I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, but if you haven't, it's about this group of people um, in the 70s, I believe, late 70s, um, that rent out this little farmhouse to film an adult film in rural Texas, and things obviously go wrong from the elderly couple that runs the farm that they have rented out. Um, let's talk about X first then. I'm going to talk about Pearl after this because, I'm not going to spoil anything here, by the way. Um, not going to, yeah, not going to spoil anything. Um, any plot twist, any major points away from the name of one of the, or, well, of the killer in X, which is Pearl, of course. Um, that's not even a spoiler. I mean, Pearl's out now. If you haven't seen X, I mean, you know that Pearl's probably going to be the one that's bad considering all the marketing and everything. Um, but yeah, interesting stuff. Mia Goth plays both Maxine, who is the female protagonist in X, and Pearl, who is the female antagonist, who's this elderly woman who creeps around and doesn't like what's going on. So yeah, that's the basic premise of it. It's very much a Texas Chainsaw inspired film. Um, it's like the Texas Porn Saw Massacre because that's what the main plot is there. Um, Very much like the group of people going to the place where they don't belong, they end up in the wrong place at the wrong time with a bad family of people that sorely pick them off. It's a slasher movie at its core, harkens back to that 70s and 80s like glory days period of that. It just with like an updated sensibility, I would say. And it's a lot of fun. X is one of my favorite movies of the year. It's really, really good. If you like slasher movies, you should definitely check this out. Ty West is fantastic. I mean, I've been a fan for a long time. I've seen all of his movies. My favorite away from this is House of the Devil. I'll probably review that in the future, actually. I have VHS coming, so I'm going to show that off like I always do. But, yeah. This one is a bit different, but it has his same sensibilities with that. Ty West, just like Quentin Tarantino, enjoys that 70s and 80s period of film. Tarantino does it more with an exploitation film like focus there, but Ty West does with the 70s and 80s horror. And they have a similar style there. In that regard, I would say. But yeah, X is a lot of fun. It's well paced. The characters are actually believable. They're much smarter than most slasher movies. The characters are actually likable as well. Maxine in this especially. Mia Goth is a great actress in this. Um, Previously, I'd only knew her from Nymphomaniac. And she did a great job, both as Pearl and Maxine in this. Pearl is very creepy, and the entire film has like a weird eerie vibe. So even though it's like that fun slasher movie tone, like you can really shift to being pretty dark and creepy. And it really does bring back that sensibilities, like that idea and the sensibilities of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I've made that comparison a lot, and I'm gonna keep making that comparison because that's the vibe that you get from this film. Um, just with like a more updated and modern like pacing and everything. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of my favorite films of all time. It does take a while to get going. This one gets into it much quicker. The visuals are, it's not like grainy like that, but the storyline and the vibe and tone of everything is the same or similar. The other thing I like about this is the kills and special effects are fantastic. I'm going to say that about Pearl as well when I go into that. Um, but yeah, creative, but not like creative to the point of being silly. They're creative, just keep you on your toes, I would say. Um, but yeah, I really don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot at all because I have none. I don't really have any complaints about X at all. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. And that brings me to Pearl, the prequel to X. Now, I was a fan of X, and I actually watched the. I was a little late to the party on this one, actually. I watched this prior to Pearl because I saw the preview for Pearl at the theater. Um, and I was like, oh, that looks great, and I heard a lot about X, and I'm a big fan of A24, but for whatever reason, I hadn't checked this out, so I just watched this just a little while ago, and I watched Pearl on opening day. Pearl is, without a doubt, my favorite film of the year. Um, just want to put that out there first off there. And it is the prequel to X. It is the sort of, not really life story, but it's a period of Pearl's life. And it shows her and how she came to be the lovely lady in X. But it's her decades prior, played by Mia Goth once again, but, young Mia Goth. Um, and it just follows her as she's growing up in this farmhouse with her abusive mother and um, disabled father, and her exploits there, and sort of explains some stuff later on in X. It gives you a better appreciation of this if you watch it. But I will say you can also watch Pearl on its own, and if for whatever reason you don't want to watch X and you're interested in Pearl, go watch it anyway. Yeah, you can watch Pearl completely on its own, away from X. They make a good, it's a good companion piece, obviously, and it's the prequel. But being a prequel, you can watch it on its own, and you're not missing any storyline, plot points, anything from X. But it's really it blew me away. Mia Goth's performance in Pearl will probably get some awards nominations, some award nods there. Um, Rarely have I seen a a performance in a horror film, in recent years at least, that's been this good. The last thing I can think of would be in Hereditary. Um, I'm blanking on her name right now. I have to look it up while I'm here. In 2018, Toni Collette, her performance that was fantastic. She was completely robbed by not being nominated for anything. Mia Goth in this, um, one of the better performances, not just in horror but in film in recent years. Her just the way that she acts and her facial expressions and like how she can portray things just through body movement and that is fantastic. She really got into the role. She carries the entire movie. She's the focal point of the movie. She's in the movie for 99% of it. And, she is certainly going to be someone to look out for going forward in horror, especially. Her performance is chilling, it's funny. Even when she's being a murderous psychopath, you kind of like her in a weird way, or at least I did. And Pearl's just a lot of fun, and I don't think it could survive without her being the star. Other things that I liked about it, it's very like bright colored. It takes place in, I believe, like the early 1900s, like 1918, 1920. Um, and just seeing like the way people are dressed, it almost like takes on this like period piece vibe, and it's really great for that. It's bright colored, it's fun, and it's dark. It may have funny points, but it's not afraid to really go there. And the way Ty West edited and filmed Pearl is fantastic. I mean, everything is a step up from X. And I told you previously how much I enjoyed X, but Pearl is just like a huge step up. It's going to certainly be at least a cult classic going forward. Um, Ty West announced the third film in the franchise, Maxine, which is a sequel to X, and I'm looking forward to that as well. I think Ty West in previous films had like seeds of greatness, and you could see where he was going, but he never really fully realized his potential. With X and Pearl, I really think he did. He made two films that I think are going to hold up for a very long time. The pacing in both of them is great. The acting is great. The soundtracks are great. The set pieces are great. The kills are great. The editing's great. Everything about them is just fantastic. It's everything that I would ever want in a horror film. I think it's everything that a lot of people want in a horror film. They're intelligent, and I'm a huge fan of A24, but I am fully aware of like how they become artsy, or some of them are sort of full of themselves, and there's like this whole like attitude. People saying like, "Oh, this feels like an A24 movie," and all the the fan base and all that stuff is but like there's sort of like this correlation or comparison. What am I looking for? People, when they think of A24, think of like a lot of people think of it as being like pretentious art films and everything like that, which there's nothing wrong with that, of course. I'm a huge fan. But Pearl and X are not pretentious at all. While remaining intelligent, they certainly don't dumb anything down for the viewer, but they're also not like films that have some like hidden meaning that you have to watch multiple times to get. It's not like something that's like too surreal and it divides audiences. I think these are both crowd pleasers, both for a wide audience and for the people that enjoy horror films and everything in general. So, yeah, you should definitely check out both of them if you haven't. Two of my favorite films of the year. Can't wait for Maxine. Just very excited. Highly recommended. Herschel Gillis approved. Garo Gang approved. And yeah, that's it for today. Gonna be doing some more reviews later in the week, but as always, zero thoughts, zero editing, and zero brain cells. Thanks, everybody.